Yeah, no, we were talking. You said something about PDA.
Yeah, man. So here's the deal. So I don't know how you guys feel about this topic. Because to me, I don't know. I mean, because like, I'm trying to think about how I want to put this.
Okay.
Because it doesn't, not that I'm anti-couple or anything like that. It's like, oh, like you can't act like you're in a, you can't look like you're in a relationship out in public. But
You're
I feel
sour
like,
about it. Like,
yeah, but I feel like
don't act like you're in a relationship.
holding hands off limits. Leave room for Jesus and let me
Right.
and let me eat my Chipotle in peace. Nah, but I think like to me, like there's levels to the game. You know what I mean? So if you're holding hands, it's all good.
Right.
But to me, I feel like there are certain people who lack the self-awareness to realize that they're making other people uncomfortable.
Yeah, like
know what I
don't
mean?
fully make out in the middle of a restaurant. You
Yeah.
know? Like that's kind of wild.
Well, just like, well, and this reminds me of like all these TikToks that I see. But you ever see these? Like, I think I've seen this like on college campuses as well. But have you ever seen where couples are like? I'm trying to think about how to explain this because it's like I'm not sure if these are goth couples or what the dynamic is.
I know, and they're like super
Yeah,
close.
like they're hugging each other and like they're like their forehead to forehead, and they're just like I don't even know what they're doing. I can't even explain it.
What's your spirit animal?
No, for real. Like they're doing something, bro. And so I'm sitting here like, that's weird to me.
Yeah, I think if there's a respectful way to do it, like, you know, of course,
Yeah.
kissing in public is fine, holding hands, you know, but like I'm talking about the
Yeah.
whole like you're making out in front
Right,
of,
like it, like things are going down, like
Yeah,
things
that's
are
kinda-
escalating. Yeah, that's where.
that's a little weird because it's like you want people to see you're putting on the show.
Well, I mean, yeah, for real. But like to me, what I always think about too is like, do they not? Well, see, there's probably two possibilities. Either one, they don't care that people are watching, or two, they just lack the self-awareness to realize that like other people are in the room.
No, I think
Like,
they
because we all
don't.
have that story of like we've hung out with friends, like they're with their girlfriend or whatever, and it's just getting like a little bit too
Right, it's like,
touchy.
I'm gonna head up.
Yeah, it's just like I gotta wash my cat.
I gotta scrub the roof.
I mean, because to me, it's like, you know, as much as like I'd be into my girlfriend, like I would never put my friends or even like other people in a position where like they're uncomfortable.
Yeah, again, I
what I
think
mean?
there's a respectful way they do it, like a little peck, a little holding the hands. But some people are
Yeah.
like, you know, yo, get a
They're
room.
going at it.
Yeah,
They're going hard.
you know, people don't say get a room for no reason. Like I think that's
real.
that's a good one right there. It's like, yo,
Yeah.
you're kind of wilding. You just basically take it off you might as well take off your clothes at this point.
I mean, for real at that point, like honestly.
Yeah, oh my gosh. But you know, another thing we were talking about too is like red flags, man.
Yes.
Red flags with the ladies.
So I'm gonna let you start this one off.
Yeah,
Well, and this is the battle with.
I'll try not to
podcast.
get myself in trouble.
No, for real. I think that's the battle with doing a podcast like this is like it kind of comes down to the question, even for us, like how much do we want to share with people? Because there's
Man.
some stuff how it's like, you know, personal, like you know, the preferences or like little things that we look for. Like, do we want to put it out there? I don't know if I have a great answer for that yet.
I'm an open book. I said, like, if people ask a question, I'll answer it. Like, I'm not running away from questions. I mean, if there's
Right.
a depth where I'm like, all right, no, like this is
Like
your business.
detail. Yeah. Okay.
But no, I think red flags. I think girls who are too clingy. That's a big thing for me. So I think girls who have nothing going on and it's like you're their whole entire world, right? So it's like
Yes.
you can't get a breath from them. They're just like, oh, what are you doing? Like hit you up every day. It's
Right.
like, yo, I have things to do. I have clients. I have emails, meetings. This. It's like I don't want to be talking to you all day in that way.
Yeah, we're not professional cuddlers.
Right.
We can't just like stay in bed for 5 days. Like,
But some girls want that.
yeah.
Like they want to be really clingy. I mean, some guys are clingy, even more than girls, which that's a whole
Oh,
nother.
that's a whole nother thing.
That's a whole.
Talk about simping. Have we talked about simping on the podcast?
I think you mentioned it. Like you said that thing about simping, where it's like it's only simping if it's not reciprocated.
Right.
So we,
No, I stand on that.
we
sure.
touched on that a little bit, but I don't know. But I think being really clingy, that's an instant turn off to me because it's annoying, and and something that's just a personal thing that's clinging to me. I don't want to say people who are too happy, but there is.
If you're enjoying your day around me, I'm out.
No, I mean like, okay, dang, I feel like I'm about to get myself in trouble here, but so you know those people on 4K.
Yeah, proceed.
Like those people who Okay, I love bubbly girls. I love girls who are fun. But
we're about to get into it.
There is a level to me where it's like you seem fake. You know what I mean? Especially growing up, being Christian and all that kind of stuff. Like there's, yo, he gave me the look like don't say anything, bro. Bro, that's how I feel, man. Like, you know exactly what I'm about to say.
No, it's funny. It's bad because I agree with you.
Yeah. It's because it doesn't seem authentic. It seems like you're trying to be something you're not. And I think that comes from, like, the culture of going to Christian and, you know, there's a lot of things that Christian girls were taught at a young age that's not really realistic about life. But not to say that I do love someone that's bubbly and fun. Like I love that, right? Yeah. I'm goofy, so I want somebody like that's like that as well. But I think there is a point of delusion where it's like, you know, butterflies, rainbows, something like I don't know. It's hard to explain, but when you see it, you're like, yo, get away from me.
Like everything's positive. There's always a positive takeaway.
Right, which I'm very much like that, but I think I'm more realistic.
Yeah, because what's that thing? It's like I'm not an optimist, but I'm not. What's the other side of that? A pessimist? I'm not a pessimist either. I'm a realist. Like I just see things for what they are. So if it's happy, it's happy. But if it's sad, like I'm gonna acknowledge it's sad.
Right.
So for me, I think there definitely is like that taste of like a lack of authenticity that I think can come off, and I definitely understand what you're saying, especially like in the Christian community.
Yeah.
And so that's definitely an interesting topic for sure that like we could definitely dive. That could be an entirely separate podcast, to be honest.
Oh yeah.
About our experiences like with, you know, like Christian girls versus more like secular girls and kind of comparing those experiences and things like that.
The sinners versus the saints.
Yeah, big facts, guys.
Pray for me. No.
Hey, yo, we're gonna open up this podcast in prayer.
Yeah, I know.
Comment below your prayer requests.
Yeah, but those two are pretty big turners for me. People who are just like, you know, always have rose-colored glasses and like nothing can go wrong, and they're just so like, "Hi, how are you?" Like, you know that kind. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
right?
It's like so like you're really amped up. It's not like you have like a natural joy. It's almost like you're
manufactured.
Like you're trying to like ramp it up or try to like up the energy or something like that.
Yeah, that's one for me that I'm like, and then that first one, but I mean, there's more, but I want to hear you now.
All right. I'm debating between two in my mind. I think I'll say the one that's not going to get me canceled first. So I think I'm going to go with, I really am turned off by girls who have like a diva mentality. Like who come off very like entitled to me. Like and girls who are entitled and who like, to me, it just rubs me the wrong way. And like, it's kind of like this whole like, I'm hot and I know, like I'm hot. I know you know I'm hot. Act accordingly. Like there's certain girls like that who like even if I do find them hot, like I'm now turned off.
Sometimes I like that though.
See, I don't like that.
I like it at a certain degree.
Be humble. Kendrick Lamar.
I like that to a certain degree because I really like the really. Yeah. You know what kind of girls.
No, I'm not saying that like for me, I'm a huge believer in confidence, and I think there is an element of like I want my girl to like, you know, be comfortable in her skin and to feel beautiful and blah blah blah. But I think like we all know like the difference to me between someone who has like a healthy level of confidence versus someone who's like, I'm hot, you know I'm hot, you know, and then they're gonna like, I guess try to set the terms of the relationship based on that kind of mentality. And to me, I don't know, that just rubs me the wrong way.
Oh no, that's corny. I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll say one because you said you were gonna say one before you get canceled, but I think I know what it is, and I'm gonna say it. I don't like masculine girls.
Oh snap! I wasn't even gonna say that.
Huh?
No, I wasn't. I'm not disagreeing with you though.
Okay, well
I'm
then
not disagreeing with you at all.
I'm backing myself up. Then you say it. You get canceled. you get canceled.
You say it first. Yeah, you say it first.
No, but I think that's a preference. Like you know, I like girls who are girls and act girly and like girly things. Yeah, I'm really into that. I like that. I think it's cute. Like, you know what I mean? They're into their dresses. They're into skirts. They're into butterflies and rainbows. You know, they always get their hairs and nails done. Like I like that really girly frame for girls. So that's something that's big for me. Like I don't like, you know. Oh, dang. I was about to get canceled and I was just like,
yo, guys, we are walking on ice right now, bro.
Yo, I was about to say something crazy, but you know, that's me. I like girly girls. I like that. Like that they like being girly. They like being pampered. They like pampering themselves. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I like girls like that for sure.
No, 100%.
But so the opposite is a complete turn off.
Yeah. To me.
Yeah.
Well, because I don't know. I mean, to me, it's like, I feel like I'm such a strong personality that I can't have like an equally strong personality in the same sense, if that makes sense. Like, so I don't.
Another man.
Yeah. Because to me, it's like, I don't know, like just little stuff. And like, I haven't had like, you know, too many crazy experiences, but I've had enough like little moments to happen to where it's like, okay, like we're not going to be a thing.
Yeah.
Like girls who are going to say something about like you holding the door for them, or like they want to split the bill and like little stuff like that. It's like, listen, like I'm not a simp or anything, but if I ask you on a date, I'm paying for the date.
Yeah, no, if I'm asking, I'm
Yeah, it's like I don't understand like this weird. It's almost like it feels like a power struggle on a date almost. And I'm like, and I don't want to fight you on stupid stuff.
Yeah,
To me, it just comes off like pride, to be honest.
Right, and I think too we come from a frame where we like a more traditional roles.
I mean, it's just the way we were raised.
Right, like so. I mean,
like we like what we like because we just have all these examples of these traditional relationships. And so I think that's kind of like what we want.
Right. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I mean, the people, especially nowadays, will tell you that there's something wrong with that. Oh, that's toxic because you want a woman to be a woman. It's like, yeah. Yeah. I want a female.
Breaking news, guys. We want feminine girls.
Breaking news.
Yeah, we like girls who like being girls.
Yeah, so like automatically that feminist kind of energy, I don't personally like it. Now, I think women are strong, and that this is about to go into a whole nother conversation, but I think it needs to be had. I think when people try to lessen male and female, you lessen what it means to be a female, and you lessen what it means to be a male. Right. So for instance, like the traditional role of a woman, the traditional role of a male, it's okay. They're different. They're not the same. Now, when you look at a female and they're like, oh no, a woman can be strong, a woman can be this, a woman can be that. Yes, they can. But to me, I feel like it takes away the power of women. Women can bear children. I could never. You could never. Men can't do that. And to me, that's a powerful thing. Right. And so when you're talking about women and what they can do, and then you're like, oh no, women can do what men can do, and men can do maybe some things, right? But in the totality of, if you're looking at men and women, we're different, and I think that's the beauty of it. And I think when we try to make them the same, you take the beauty out of each sex.
Well, yeah, and it's like I got into this with someone I know. We're talking about this, how it's like, to me, like I'm trying to think about the way to explain this, because like to me, when you have these roles and these like strengths and weaknesses about each other, you guys together, you complement each other.
Exactly.
But what happens is if you both are equally great at everything all the time in the same sense, then it's almost like what I think what my sister said was like, then why do you need each other?
True.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, if you're just as good at everything all the time in the same sense, then it's like, what are we really doing here?
I completely agree. And so that's why I think like, the differences is the thing that brings us together. Not that we're both like, I don't want a girl. I don't want to feel like I'm treating a girl how I treat my best friend. Like, I don't want to be like, yo, what's up, bro?
Yo, what's up, man?
Yeah, and we're like macho and competing. I don't want to do that with a girl that I like. And so I think, especially nowadays, a lot of people, men and women can do what women do. Yeah, sure, man. Like, women are strong, obviously. Like, that's never my thing. I want women to have this, just as much rights as men, all that kind of stuff, right? Because, people go to the extremes. And I always hate the extremes.
Same,
because for me, it's like, well, maybe this is an extreme. Nowadays, people would say that I like a woman to be a woman and, a man to be in a man's role. But I think, again, you're lessening what it means to be a woman when you say, like, oh, we're the same. It's like, no, we're not. If we're the same, this is an analogy that a podcast we listen to talk about. If there's a guy and a girl and a robber breaks in, right? If men and women are equal, hey, babe, go handle it.
You got that. Yeah,
you got that. You got that. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, you got that, right?
No, obviously the girl's gonna be like, "Hey, yo, I'm here. You're a man. Go fix that." Right. And as men, we're our duty is to step up and be like, you know what, I'm the man in this situation. I'm going to handle that, right? I think, even biblically, we can even talk about how, a man is just supposed to submit to his wife and the wife to submit to his husband. People get lost because sometimes they only think, oh, a woman is only supposed to submit. People think that's such a scary word, but it goes both ways. Men are supposed to submit to their husband, and we're supposed to love our wife like Jesus loves the church. So it's like, I don't want to get preachy here, but there's so many things that you can say into that the dynamic of women and men are so beautiful, but when you dilute it to say we're the same,
when you're interchangeable. Like,
I hate it.
And you're not.
I hate it, man.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what happens nowadays when people think what they think. And, you know, I it doesn't bother me. I think, and oh, man, I can go so many places with this because I'm thinking about politics. I'm thinking about everything. Right. Just how people are so divided and just can't like, hey, you think like that? Great. I think like this? Great.
Well, and that's, to me, that's like a weird place to be where it's almost like and I've seen people like this who are like, if we don't agree on everything all the time, then we can't be friends.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. But there's a lot of people who think like that. Like, oh, if you voted for a different candidate, I don't like you, we can't be friends. Like, oh, if we don't like the same music, like it's a really weird I'm trying to think about the phrase, but essentially means that like you're surrounding yourself in a bubble almost of like your own opinion. It's like
a bias.
Yeah, it's like confirmation bias.
Yeah.
And so like, okay, if you're surrounding yourself with the people who have the same opinions as you, who think the same way as you, who move the same way as you, you're never being challenged. Like it's a weird, almost brainwashing type of effect where like you get so caught up in your own like self-righteousness almost to where it's like the second you run into somebody who has a different view than you, the world explodes. And I think that's what we're seeing.
And I think it's even bad with, you know, having access to all this information. Yeah. So I saw this video the other day and he was saying you can type in anything to confirm your bias. So it's like, so what he said, did you see that?
Oh yeah.
He typed in, he was like, coffee can make me blind. And then he typed up, it was all these articles about coffee making you blind. It's like coffee can help me with my eyesight. And it was all these articles supporting that. So even the internet has created what we just talked about. Yeah. So for instance, I can, you know, look up right now, something crazy like that, and it'll just confirm everything that I believe about that. 100%. And then you get with your crew, and then you're like, oh no, those people are bad. And I think something people do instead of saying, like detaching people's ideas from their like identity, like people would be like, oh, since you voted for Joe Biden, since you voted for Trump, you're this person, and you're and it's like, no, man, maybe I just voted for him because I wanted to. Or maybe I felt like his policies were better. It's like, it really isn't that deep. Yeah. And some people go so deep into it. It's like, that's your personality. That's who you are. You're a racist or you're whatever. Or all these different things.
Like insert ist.
Yeah, you're an ist, right? Yeah. And then all these things that comes with that. Right. And I mean, it does get me fired up a little bit because it's just like, hey, man, they think that, I think this. Great. Like, let's be copacetic. Like, let's just be cool.
No, 100%, man. To me, that's definitely a weird place to be. Like, I've never put myself in a vacuum where it's like I'm only listening to people who agree with me all the time. Because, like, the second you start doing that, man, like, it just gets to a really dangerous place.
Danger, red lights.
Where it's just like, well, I think, like you said, too, like, people put their identity in certain stances that they have about things. Mm-hmm. And so once you have your identity attached to something, now you're no longer willing to move away from that opinion.
Mm-hmm. Because when you do, you're going against yourself.
Right, because now it's like, oh, it's not my opinion on politics or my opinion on this. It's like, no, this is who I am. So now you're going against yourself, and it just becomes this whole thing. You're
going against yourself and the group. So everyone who thinks about that. So automatically you're having this, I think I want to say it's called cognitive dissonance. I think that's what I'm looking for. Yeah. But basically what I'm trying to say is, you know, you're bringing up this new idea, and that new idea is going against you, who you are at the core. So it's this rubbing against each other where it's like, this is who I am, but it's like, wait, no, I think that, and then you kind of get crazy like people are on the internet now. Like they fully go out like, I'm a Trump boy, I'm a Biden boy, I'm an ABC boy, like all this. You know, a cab, all cops are bad cops, which I think is insane.
To me, it's like, it's really weird to me how so many people are willing to jump to one side of the spectrum so quickly. Yeah. And it's like, especially in the way that like the media talks about like certain topics and like certain ideas or whatever, it makes it sound like everyone's either on this side or on this side. It's like, in reality, most people are somewhat in the middle. About like 65% of people are somewhat in the middle. Like they kind of agree with that, but they kind of agree with these people over here. And it's like, I'm kind of just in this middle section.
And I think that's the biggest thing that bothers me about the media, because when you actually go out in life, it's nothing like what they have on the media. Like, you know, if you let's say you only looked at the media, especially this last 2 years with Corona and stuff like that, you would think that all cops kill only black people and black and white people hate each other.
Yeah, and like 20% of the world's population is dead because of,
you know,
the bug.
Because of the bear bug.
The bug.
And you know, you would get all these ideas and just be like, you would look at the world in such a crazy way. Right. But when you're actually out here, it's like, oh no, it's not really like that. You know what I mean? When I'm talking to people, when I'm out in life, it's not really how it's portrayed. Right. Now, are there's evil people? Of course.
Of course.
You know,
always.
There always will be.
Right.
And so, people are so entrenched with the media and they believe every little thing. And I think that's insane. And I think it's unhealthy, right? Like, because you're believing everything the media says and I don't even have to, think for myself. And that's crazy to me, man. Like, you have no thoughts of your own.
Right.
And you're just like, oh, you know what? Fox said this. CNN said this. Either way, because I think people try to pick a side and stay there. Like, people could say I'm on whatever side, but I look at both sides like, yo, y'all tripping. Like, both of you guys are tripping. This one is thinking about lizard people, and this one thinking, Corona is the worst thing that has ever happened in the world. So it's like, yo. On both sides, y'all are crazy.
Oh, 100%.
So I know myself, like, I fall more in the middle than anything because I look at both sides like, yo, that's not how the world works.
Well, and kind of like what I was saying, I think it does come back to like, okay, I see what people are saying over here. Okay, I don't like that.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you think lizard people are real? Okay, no, we're going back over here.
I'm going. And that makes me tip all the way.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, let me go back over here. Yeah.
Like you think lizard people? I'm out. I'm on the side.
Yeah.
Instantly.
It just becomes too much, man.
Right.
And there's definitely information overload. I think because like the previous problem of like a couple generations ago was lack of access to information. And I think now we have so much information that we're
good now.
I was like, we're good.
Yeah, we're good now.
Yeah, guys, we just had like a little technical issue here, so we're trying to figure that out. But yeah, we're back on track here.
You're all good.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. I think like just the extremes is really dangerous to be on. I think I'm a big believer in just like you said, just like live your life and look around and like so take these theories that you're hearing from like the media and actually compare them to your own personal experiences.
So I think I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because I think I did say, kind of live your life and do that. But I think, that more liberal look of the world, that view of the world, sometimes you allow just being like, oh, everyone could live. Then you allow the people who are on the extremes to make you believe what they believe. Right. So nowadays you almost can't just be like live and let live, which I wish the world was like, yo,
literally. Like I think to me like that defines my whole view on a lot of things. It's like, listen, like I'm gonna have my own set of beliefs. You can have your own set of beliefs. Let's just cooperate and just not get in each other's, spaces and try to tell each other what to do.
And just be respectful. I think that's where you start. Like if you can, like I don't necessarily agree with the coexist. You ever see that tag?
Yeah.
I'm not there, but I do resonate with that a little bit to where it's like, hey man, like if you do what you do and that's fine with you. But now it's both of the sides saying you have to. Oh, I'm trying to think of a bad of both sides. Like you have to believe lizard people, and you have to believe. No, I'm not gonna say that. I'm not gonna because again, I'm not trying to cause division. But what I'm trying to say is, the division is ridiculous. And when you look at it in real life, most people can come to a middle point where like, hey, you believe that, and I believe that.
Oh, dude, no, 100%. I think to me, like especially when I went to the my local community college to knock out my associate's degree before I like jumped into business full time, like. I mean, for me, you ran into people who believe all kinds of different things.
Which is awesome.
Which I think is great. I think even if you disagree with them, I think it's still important to have that conversation about why do you believe the things you believe and go back and forth about ideas. Because I think we're at a place now where people aren't even willing to talk to each other. And I think that's where things get like a lot of pent-up aggression starts to come out because we're starting to get irritated with each other and blah, blah, blah. And so I think that for me, man, like I've had great friendships, almost got into relationships with people who were very different from me. But a lot of these topics didn't even really come up. How like you could be so different from somebody or fundamentally believe like core different things, but you're just like you're vibing, you're just hanging out, having fun, and just having conversation or whatever. And these things just never come up. And so it's almost like people just are really quick to like categorize people and label people, which I think is very lazy.
Now, I'm not going to disagree that there are things that people think that I just could never be friends with that person. Yeah, now, getting along with that person is a whole different thing. Like, just because you believe whatever, like, we don't need to agree. And I think that's the problem nowadays. Is like, if you don't agree, and then, again, people are saying, if you believe that, you are bad, not your ideas are bad. Because that's two different things. Yes. It's like, you are bad as a person rather than your idea is a little wacky.
Yeah, like, it's not like I don't agree with your idea. It's like, I'm against you as a person.
Which is like, yo, that's crazy.
Well, because it does go back to like the identity thing of like your idea. It's not that like these are your opinions. Like, no, like this is who you are. So now you're that much more willing to not only take it to level 10 if somebody disagrees with you. But you're also now getting emotionally tied to something that, you could be, genuinely wrong about. But now, even if you get proved that you're wrong, you're not willing to change because you're so dug in on what you think is right.
It's like that thing that, like, you're the problem. You ever hear that? Like, that was a lot of, I'm not going to say what side started that, but you are literally the problem if you can't have civil conversation. Right. That shows the lack of immaturity. It shows the lack of, like, how smart you are. It shows how low your intellect is.
Well, if you can't defend your ideas.
Exactly.
If you can't defend your ideas, then, like, do you even really believe what you believe if you're going to run into somebody who has some questions and you can't even answer the questions?
Or how about this? Maybe you hold those beliefs and someone comes against it and you're like, you know what? I don't have an argument for that, but I'll get back to you. Or just like, you know what? I don't have an argument with that. Yeah. See ya. I'm going to see you again anyway.
Well, no, and here's the thing too. Like, I don't know is a real answer.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, there's this weird thing, and I'm not sure if it comes from a place of pride or whatever. Like, I know I've dealt with this in the past where, like, I felt like, especially when you're talking about, like, certain heated topics or controversial topics that, like, you feel like you take a stand on something and that you automatically, because you're on the side, have to have all these different answers. And so having, so funny, someone asks you a real question that you don't know the answer to, I don't know is a perfectly acceptable answer. Say, hey, I can look into that for you and get back to you or whatever. But it's like this weird play. If you answer a question that you don't really know the answer to, now you're just saying stuff. Yeah, it just gets weird.
And I think we can even pull to, like, us. Like, there's some stuff that I've said that you said that was like, nah, I don't agree. And it's like, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Moving on. Right?
Well,
it's like,
exactly.
I think, when people look at it, they're just like, we have to agree on everything or you're bad. No, man. That's not how the world works. You're gonna live a small life, and like that's how I think about anyone who holds prejudice, anyone who is racist, all that kind of stuff. Like, you're just gonna live a very small life.
Well, and I would also argue that you're missing out on a lot. You know what I mean? You're missing out on experiences. You're missing out on relationships. Like, because if you're just so dug in, you're only gonna see things from one perspective. You're not willing to hear people out. It's like you're gonna live a very limited life.
Which.
Sure.
I can kind of give a little caveat to that because when you talk about, like, religion, that conversation gets a little different. I don't know how deep you want to go there.
Yeah, it gets a little muddy. Yeah. Might have to say that for the audio version.
Right. Yeah, no, but I think that that was a good conversation, man.
Yeah.
Because I think people need to hear that. People need to hear that,
Well, and it's like my biggest takeaway from this, guys, is like it's okay to disagree with people and still be friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we're in this weird place where everyone's just so, like,
have this pent up,
wound up and, like, just ready to, like, just jump on people.
But that 90% of that comes from social media and the news that people are watching. Again, like, a lot of the stuff that people are saying on social media is like, maybe some people believe that, but a level of people that believe that is almost finite. It's like a couple thousand people believe that in America.
Yeah, well, and to me, it almost turns into like a sports team type of thing. Like, when the election's up and stuff like that, it's like team 1 versus team 2. And then, like, if one team wins, like, I knew, like, when Trump won, everyone was so aggressively patriotic. I was just, like, hilarious. I'm like, listen, like, I love America. I'm glad to be here. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. But we got people, we're in the South, and so maybe that has some impact there. But, like, we got people, like, honking at people, like, with the flags, and they're just like, Trump, and just yelling. And I'm like, can we just, just relax and just, you know what I mean? It's so weird to me how, like, especially when it feels like a team culture type of thing where it's like, oh, my team won, so I'm now going to rub this in your face and haha. And I'm like, what are we accomplishing by doing that?
Nothing.
Like, if anything, you're just creating more division with people who you have to live with. Like, these people are going to be, like, no one's really leaving this country. No. Like, we're in this thing together. So let's just get along.
Go to Afghanistan. Go to Canada. You feel me? Like, that's how I feel when people talk bad about America. It makes me really irritated. Just kind of knowing, like, one, how my parents grew up, how my great grandmother grew up, all that kind of stuff. Like, America is better today than it was